The FlexiProject system allows easy integration with JIRA. You can import data from JIRA effortlessly. Today, we'll demonstrate how to connect JIRA with FlexiProject. Let's say you're running a project in FlexiProject where the business core part of the project is managed, but the development and IT work part is being done in JIRA. FlexiProject can retrieve information from your JIRA environment. To do this, let's go through a few steps. First, go to the Administration section to import data from JIRA. Then go to System Settings and choose JIRA. The JIRA link is off, so we turn it on. And then we need to complete the fields. I've done this setup before, so the fields are already filled. We need some detailed information about our JIRA environment. We need to provide the server address, the username of the person doing the integration, and the key, also known as the API token. It's worth remembering that the person integrating must have full admin rights in both JIRA and FlexiProject. If not, the integration cannot be done. Ideally, the same person should be an administrator of both systems. We enter the server name where our JIRA instance is hosted. In this case, it's flexi.atlassian.net. In your case, it will be your unique server name. Then we provide the username and paste in the token. But where do we get this token? To get this token, we need to visit our JIRA, go to Settings, then Atlassian Account Settings. Next, we click Security, select API Token, create a new API token named API Test, and set the expiration date. Tokens have a specified validity period. Tokens are valid for up to a year, so we can pick a far-off expiration date and then hit Create. The token is a kind of key to our JIRA. Therefore, having already generated the token, we proceed further. We need to copy this token into the field and then click Save. We can also verify the connection to ensure everything is fine. The integration works, and our systems have been connected. Below, we will view the users imported from JIRA by their email addresses. This indicates that if a user has an identical email address in both FlexiProject and JIRA, they will be listed here and automatically linked. We can see the users were added. The system maps users by email addresses assigned in JIRA. If they have different emails, we can manually connect accounts in both systems. You should click here, choose the 3 dots, and select Connect to link FlexiProject users with imported JIRA users. We already have the connection between both systems. Therefore now, having the first step behind us, we can proceed to import data from a JIRA project into our project in FlexiProject. Earlier, we noticed a development and testing section where we need to extract data from JIRA. With the connection between JIRA and FlexiProject already established, we can import the data into our project by clicking on Settings, then selecting JIRA Connection, and here FlexiProject will ask us to provide the project key. The project key is the project identifier in JIRA. We can find the project key by going to JIRA, clicking on Project Settings, and it will be displayed there. This key should be copied and then pasted into this field to inform FlexiProject which project we want to import data from. When importing from JIRA, FlexiProject will ask you to choose which parts from JIRA you want to bring into FlexiProject. According to the structure in JIRA, you may have epics, tasks, bugs, user stories, and subtasks. Obviously, we can select all the data, but let's say that, from a management point of view, we are currently interested in viewing epics, tasks, user stories, and subtasks. When managing this project, we don't want to see bugs. Bugs are not currently relevant to us from a project management perspective. So I'm just simply unchecking this option. We click Save, and as we can see, the tasks appear here at the bottom. The imported data is presented in strict adherence to the work breakdown structure. Top-level JIRA tasks are numbered to mirror our main phases and deliverables, while the rest unfolds in a hierarchical tree. This creates a unified view. fully aligned with our WBS for clarity and consistency. We can further model this view by sequencing tasks to reflect not just the structure, but also the precise order of all project phases. To organize the structure, we can simply use drag and drop to change an item's location, placing it under the corresponding parent task. Let's assume that for a development phase, we want to include back-end development, front-end development, and testing, which we can easily move into place. Working with this drag and drop functionality is simple and intuitive, allowing us to seamlessly build out our schedule with newly imported elements. It is essential to click on the top-level element because the structure is preserved according to its setup in JIRA. We can't move the sub-elements, but we can move the top-level items higher up in the structure. The key point is that we have also imported all task ownership details, which you can see in the Owner column within the task list view. This mirrors the user linking we established earlier between JIRA and FlexiProject. This column aggregates the owners previously assigned to tasks, whether they originated in FlexiProject or in JIRA. We can see that some tasks are already assigned to FlexiProject users. In this case, to a user named Daniel Labert, who exists in both JIRA and FlexiProject. However, users who are only in JIRA and not in FlexiProject are displayed here with the specific icon. In the Column tab, new fields have appeared: JIRA Identification, JIRA Status, and JIRA Type. We can see that this data is also pulled in from JIRA. The JIRA ID acts as a unique task number for an element in JIRA. For example, the back-end development task, which encompasses all back-end work, is represented as an epic in JIRA. We can simply click on this ID to be redirected directly to the item's details in JIRA, where we can view all related subtasks and information. Next is the JIRA status, which indicates the state of a task or any other imported element. It is automatically imported based on the settings configured in JIRA, allowing for the creation of a broader dictionary of statuses for any given issue. And finally, we have the task type, which we mentioned earlier. Let's say we want to open this subtask. By clicking on the JIRA ID, we are automatically directed to the details of that task in the JIRA system, where we can find more detailed information and also edit it. Let's take a look at what we have here. Looking at this task, it's clear that there's nothing in it right now. However, FlexiProject still imports all the available data, and we can review it immediately. Let's change some of the task's details. For instance, we want our task to have its own description, so it is clear what needs to be done within the scope of this task. We click on Description, enter the desired description for this task with all the necessary details, and press Save to keep the changes. Upon saving the changes, these new details will be synced to FlexiProject shortly during the next integration refresh performed by the FlexiProject system. We can also change the status of a given task. Let's say we mark it as done since the work is completed. Now, upon returning to FlexiProject, we see that nothing has changed yet. This is because the updates are not reflected immediately. At this moment, we do not see the updated status because the integration is updated once a day. Each day, the FlexiProject system pulls data from JIRA and updates all changes. But what if we want to see these changes right now? We have the option to manually refresh the data by navigating to Settings, choosing the JIRA connection, and hitting Save. As you can see, we've updated the task with the new details and marked its status as completed. If we exit, the progress bar in FlexiProject will also update to show the task status. Since we marked it as done, it now shows 100% completion. However, for tasks that are in progress, where only a part has been completed, the system interprets this as 50% complete. Therefore, the system interprets the start of a task and its in-progress status as equivalent to 50% completion. Importantly, for any task, we can specify a deadline, which allows us to manage our timeline within FlexiProject. The key point is that entering a date, such as for a subtask, triggers automatic adjustments in the parent elements based on our input, which is a function of the scheduling system. It is crucial to note that changes to these dates will only apply within FlexiProject and will not be saved back to JIRA. So, if no dates were set before, they will now appear as shown here. However, if we change the schedule, for instance by setting the task to end in August, we will see the start date adjust to July 18th and the end date to August 21st. Parent tasks and project phases will automatically pull their dates from the underlying subtasks. This is how we build the entire schedule structure. Another helpful feature I want to tell you about is that any task we see here can also be converted into a milestone. From our perspective, it is crucial because completing a particular task can signal a key milestone in the project. It indicates a significant step in the project's progress. By right-clicking on a given task and selecting the transform option, the task will automatically be converted into a milestone. We will then be able to see this visually on the chart, which clearly indicates that a milestone has been created for this item. In FlexiProject, a milestone is clearly marked with a diamond symbol. This visual indicator is displayed consistently both in the task list view and on the Gantt chart. If we want to customize what is displayed here, besides this field in JIRA integration, we can also use a specific JQL filter. That is JIRA Query Language, which allows us to query for particular data we are interested in. Let's say we want to find issues that are only assigned to Alexander Darka. In JQL, the query would be, assignee is Alexander Darka. JQL provides us with a very broad capability to search for information in JIRA using even the most detailed database-like queries. We could, for instance, look for tasks from different projects by using the appropriate JQL key, or filter tasks by a specific type, such as those marked with a certain label. If we hit Save, we will notice that the tree structure and our work, such as placing tasks under specific schedule elements, remain intact. However, only the tasks assigned to Alexander Darka will appear at the bottom of our schedule structure as new imported elements from JIRA. And what's essential is that we can use this method to combine several projects. For example, suppose we have 2 or 3 JIRA projects that contribute to IT development work. The deliverables from these 3 projects will be consolidated into a large project in FlexiProject. In that case, we can import the data using JQL, and it will appear just as it did during the first synchronization, at the very bottom of the list. Finally, it is important to mention that when a new task is created in JIRA, it will also appear here. It will be placed at the end if it is a standalone task not linked to the structure of other tasks and subtasks, or within the existing hierarchy if it is a new subtask, for example. Now, let's go back to our tasks view and see what we have. If we save the desired elements, we can see that the structure has been updated. Let's assume that for front-end development under the user story payment UI design, we want to create a third element. This will allow us to see how adding tasks in JIRA affects the list of imported tasks in FlexiProject. Let's add a new task under the detailed payment user interface design. To do this, we return to the familiar JIRA environment, create a specific task, provide a clear description, and assign a responsible person. As you can see, I am now entering JIRA, and, through the intuitive task management panel, I can easily add a new subtask to the main task. I fill in all the required details and successfully add this task in JIRA. So, when we return to FlexiProject and manually update the data synchronization between the systems, we notice this new task is now clearly visible. If it were a large, standalone task, like a major project objective, it would appear at the very end of the list. And that covers everything regarding the integration with JIRA. If you have any questions about configuring this yourself or encounter any issues, please do not hesitate to contact us. As always, we encourage you to like this video and subscribe to the FlexiProject channel. Wishing you successful work with our system.